Hi, hello, welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. We have a live situation going on right now. Pardon the camera angle. I don't want to make you nauseous there. It'll work itself out in a moment and I'll leave it alone. We're going to allow a few minutes to get in the room. If you're just viewing, anytime you see a lightning bolt, it's an unedited, raw, live wire of a feed. I'll process that out. I want to tell you hi, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm going to wait a few minutes to the opening prayer, and we'll assign this video number 14. And well, for right now, it is just a spontaneous sermon. I've been spending some time getting organized, and that's gave me lots of ideas about spiritual wellness, cleanliness being close to godliness. And, you know, a lot of times physical functions in the environment literally unlock spiritual functionality about you that you might not have the most autonomy over or franchise control over. And a lot of times we need to go through the movements in the physical so that we can align with that intangible concept or that kind of franchise of the spiritual element. Meaning, for instance, like sometimes I'll get on my hands and knees and scrub the floor. It's called karma yoga for a priestess. And a lot of times when I'm done with that, even if it's 10, 15 minutes, getting up, taking decisive action on that thing in my mind that up until recently, before the scrubbing, was confusing, was chaotic, was messy, was ratchet. And oftentimes, like, when I am plotting revenge, and to me, plotting revenge is shanking something, person, place, or thing. It's calling upon the death, bringing down the tower. Oftentimes, it's just getting my house in order. It doesn't even need to be against a person, doesn't need to be because my ego or my feelings got bruised. Like, literally, before slaying something or someone, I'll get on my hands and knees and scrub the floor. It's kind of like getting things in order, getting my constitution about me, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we need to bring to reconcile the year. And year for us is one day for the creator. And frankly, in my opinion, the creator of all creators in the prime realm of creation, one lifetime down here is one day for the creator. And I'm not going to get into that research that I have right now. I'm just spiritual babble while we allow a few extra people to join the room. I have the number 11 coming through right now. So 11 to me is like a gateway number. And for those who are the traditional theologians, 11 is the number of Da'ath. Typically is the gate of illumination. It's the secret in which you know. It's the way in which you petition spirit through your own energies to open the door or open the gate or allow energy, forms, forces, powers that be to come over or to cross the threshold. A lot of times when I see 11, the sequential question, the follow-up question, the guidance I might be asking, I might be trying to find out if there is any type of cross. So if someone is using the technology of 11, well, what is your relationship to the higher realms? And what way are you fallen? Are you crossed? Are there cords? And typically then the knowledge, the gate 11 would be, who knows? Is there some little reptilian beady-eyed lizard here controlling, puppeting things around? Who's the patriarch here? Who's the controller, you know? Where is this programming of the Western world? And then other times it would be, okay, well, this might also be someone who's in knowledge of themselves. They have knowledge of the self. Are they a priestess? Is there some type of tantrika lineage? There's some type of Brahmanical practice? There's some type of righteous, not indignation, but righteous perpetuation, movement forward, situation, solidification of a foundation. So, you know, when I hear, when I feel, when I sense the number 11, I'm asking, where's the crucifixion technology? Now, again, that gets me in trouble amongst my peers. I'm the one who believes in the Illuminati, not in the way that people think. I don't think there's a organized group called the Illuminati. In my opinion, the Illuminati is a type of secret society. In my opinion, those who are illumined are ones who know the truth of who we are, why we're here, fallen in this existence in the dark, and the controllers and the mechanisms that facilitate. So I apologize for the camera movement every time. So when we talk truth, things like that happen. Oops. Okay, so when the dissolution of a perpetuation of a story called an agenda, so when agendas get purified and they come to the surface and we begin to see them, especially on a collective scale, that's called singularity. Singularity is when you are now experiencing the consciousness of the dimension that you were previously under. You are now experiencing the consciousness of the being that you were previously under. You, up until recently, had an understanding, now you have an overstanding. That's the singularity, and it's on a collective scale. So if we're in a matrix, we're in the third dimension, and there's a being controlling the fourth dimension. If you're in a matrix, think of yourself in a video game. You're the player on a video game being puppeted around. And if you really want to understand that concept and ideal, study the prison system and study how prison wardens control groups of people, prison populations, and you'll see the components or the technology around the fourth dimensional overlord. Okay, but think of it as you being in a video game. You're the player in the video game. The full card would suggest the beginning of the video game, your life. Okay, and the world card would be winning the game. Okay, and the devil would be the proverbial Bowser that you have to battle against, and we could call the devil many things: the devil, Lucifer, the darkness, evil, the nemesis, the government, Illuminati, whatever. To me, government is the emperor, l'imperatore, president. Okay, and then the church, the Vatican, would be the Hierophant. So, that's kind of some of what I want to talk about. Maybe not today, but I want to kind of tell you and reveal the mysteries in a very encoded, in a very kind of everyday. Hey, you come across these cards, maybe let it jog your memory this way. But today we're going to do some sermons, some grace and ennoblement. And I come to you as a person who's crowned by the universe, a keeper of the mysteries, a wearer of the veils, a navigator of our universe. I'll be our charioteer today. And I want to tell a story, so let's see if the story comes through. Now, for my girls, my daughters, my spiritual children, daughters of Isis, Ma'at, Sekhmet, Hathor, the students of the mystery, those who are seeking, are currently, or on the way to being so. Pay particular attention. We're going to do what's called a cosmic lotus spread. And I'm hoping something like the world card comes out, and it came out with the soul. So I oftentimes tell people, I do have the keys to the universe. And, if I'm starting your reading and something like this pops out, I would be like, ooh, you might be a sister. So I feel like the universe is giggling at me a little bit because I don't know how to use this. Normally we open up a gate, and so I would have this at the very center of the reading, and I'd open up a lotus, a universe around it. I would literally portal to this. It represents the energy of Saturn, which both dissolves and crystallizes. It reconciles the physicality of visional experience. So it is the concept and idea, it is the archetype of Saturn, but it's the concept and idea of Neptune and Pluto. So it seems like we've both opened up the gate, and that's where the soul is. So what I'll do is okay. Okay, so again, I'm opening up the gate to the soul. And this will be the soul incarnate with the purple at top. With the lighter subtle colors, it's the soul's traveling somewhere. Soul incarnate. We'll open up the lotus there. Alrighty, so at the east gate we have Ma'at, so balancing out the scales of justice. And what that tells me is we're standing here in the halls of Ma'at at the gate to the Akasha. And it says that we weren't empowered incarnate. We didn't know how to take action. Apparently, there was some lack of friend test autonomy control over ourselves. We weren't able to embody strength, courage, and wisdom in some way. This is the story of humanity and why we're fallen here in the physical. And it was because we needed to learn things about ourselves, or there may have been things about ourselves that were held back. So again, I was talking earlier about the patriarchy, about the Vatican. They changed the map, they changed the cosmology of the globe, and they gave us the whole Jesus story so they can take our Christ and leave us with our lower selves. Jesus did die for our sins, but Jesus is the little Zeus. Jesus is the stomach. So basically, Jesus bought our soul back, but the Vatican owns our body. If you were born in a jurisdiction, 98% of the surface of the planet, born under a jurisdiction that issues a birth certificate at birth, you're owned by the Vatican. The Vatican is trying to own your soul. And yeah, we're out of alignment with the proper soul group, so we've been brought into fallen ascension, the patriarchal. So when they implant patriarchy on the hard drive, what happens is you break away from the organic hive, the organic vibration of the goddess, and you go to like an inorganic one. Like that's what the matrix is. It's a false matrix. There is an authentic matrix called the harmonic universe, or the universal timeline, the universal ascension matrix, and then they have the false ascension matrix. And there's two models. There's one that's Luciferian in its nature, one that's satanic in its nature, and I'm not going to get too deep on that. Come to the mystery school. But one is more like they use the fallen Melchizedek, which is basically they're trying to hijack the bodies with melanin so they can make it into heaven. I paraphrase so much. It's not quite what it is, but basically what it is. And then the other one is just F the earth, F anything that represents the divinity of the earth, which is the children that can live off of all of the fig, the barley, God's children, basically the 12 tribes, but they come in like 3 different colors. So the mysteries of the 3 sisters would tell you a lot about that. So that's what this is telling me. And already out the gate, the 4 corners in the universe are jacked up. Like just right to it. So let me get a minute with this. It seems like the only one that isn't offering advice is my aunt. And she's like, well, you're always going to come back into alignment, but unfortunately, it's got to be through death right now. So I'm kind of jealous of Tupac because, you know, you need to step up into higher realm. See, we have, okay, let mama tell you. So, okay, there's this little story. It seems like in the world, people get confused. They don't understand like extradimensionality, extraterrestriality, you know, interdimensionality, interterrestriality. Okay, so the Earth is the middle of the entire universe, but we don't know. There may be several universes. We know there are several galaxies, and I'll leave that technology for another time. So the thing about Earth is an Enneagram for heart, and it's literally like the heart of everything. So Antarctica actually goes around the entire Earth. The flat Earth is not real. Spherical Earth is not real. They're both real and they're both alive. There's a little bit of truth in everything. We're all being lied to. Everything out there is a psychological operation by the military. And the military really is the U.S. military because it's the entire military for the surface of the earth. America is the fallen war god. It's anything with Columbia, Washington, or Columbine in it. It's talking about the fallen humanity. Okay, so I guess we should just get to business now. Welcome to class, y'all. So I'm already seeing this, and it's just like, okay, this is gonna be work. This is not gonna be no brief sermon, and this is probably gonna force you to email somebody. It doesn't have to be me, and say, girl, how do I save my soul? How do I collect my business from the hand of the devil? What is going on here? What agreement is this? And how do I return to sender? Because it's fuckery. So, yeah. Okay, so yeah, the truth will come out whenever you have the Justice card and the Tower card. It's truth coming out. And it's about the soul group, so about the fallen lines. And I see why we have polarization against black and white. It's because we don't know who we are. We don't know what's alive in us. And we don't know the divinity of our DNA, what's alive in us. We don't know what made us sovereign, sacred, and serene. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about the magician really quick. The magician, besides being Mercury, It's the axis between the third and the ninth house. So think about that. It's mutability. Now, mutability also comes in the temperance card, but la temperanza this is the talent that you need to cultivate. La temperanza, the temperance card, would be how masterful you become at said talent. So let me just tell you. Okay, now Uranus steps down into Mercury in order to bring its energy into the physical, but Mercury brings the messages of Lord Vishnu, which is Neptune. Okay, Uranus is Brahma. So this is the created one. And in terms of the royal family, we have the suits, right? So you have the princess, who's always Venus, who's always like the youngest daughter, and normally she's about in high school. Then you have Mars, who's the oldest son, the firstborn son, who's always away at college or away at war, right? Then you have Mercury, who's the baby in the house, but not baby in terms of newborn, baby in terms of always having that perpetual seeking. Okay, I'm a little doubtful because I need to trust, I need to experiment, I need to kick it around. And I don't want to get deep, I just want to know who, what, when, where, why, how about every little thing that comes across my mind, right? And so we have the third house, ninth house axis, and that is the magician, versus the sixth house, 12th house axis, which is the high priestess. When we think about the first to the seventh, that is the fool coming into this world. Okay, leaving this world, 4th house, 10th house, coming into this world, 1st house, 7th house. 3rd house, 9th house, this is the magician. Typically, it's cultivating your talents, cultivating your skills and abilities. The secret is that there's 9 of them, the 9 planets. There's 10, but 10 is your power. And oftentimes we're submerged or hung upside down, Pluto. Okay, Antarctica is the ice wall around the Earth. Okay, it's going to take me time after time after time to really get this mystery up onto you. So pick it up where you can get going, put it down when you had enough, keep on coming back around. I will be trimming this. Okay? So I'm hearing that we're having difficulty cultivating our abilities. And it's because they took something from us. They took something from us, and they're trying to con us into, and also the subrogation of the divine feminine and the veiling of the feminine. So there's 2 stories to the people who are like, well, you make your women wear the little black, niqabs, hijabs, etc. The way that the Western world penalizes the Eastern world for the treatment of women, which has its merits and doesn't. I'm not going to go deeply into it, but sometimes I know that women were veiled by a man. There's a difference between human, God man, or good man, and mankind. Okay, but I also know that the women had to veil themselves, especially in the Middle East, which is where we fell. Adam and Eve, well, Eve went to Africa and Adam went to Middle East, right there by the Red Sea. That's the womb of all creation. I'm not just talking about humans. I'm talking about plant life, water, everything came right there where the Giza pyramids are, the Red Sea. Okay, so sometimes women veil themselves because the aliens, the watchers, the Yigi, the ones that mixed with the daughters of man, human, the most beautiful of the animal kingdom. Okay, so they were veiling themselves so that the aliens wouldn't come down, swoop up, and impregnate them. Okay, so I only tell the first 9 mysteries, and then we have the mystery of this mofo head. So here's the demiurge, or the false god, the one who thinks he has some mind over matter. Now, one good thing about this is does talk about God in the sense of being in the head region, rather than being in the bowel region. Now, God to me is the being that we live in. So we are Alpha Centauri. I'm not talking about the draconian and the darkness there, but if you know about it, get with me. Welcome to the Mystery School. Now, we are Centauri beings because we're embodying all the different animal archetypes, but we're in a bigger being called the dragon. That's why in the east part of the world, like Asia, that tends to be the crown chakra, so that's why they talk about the dragon a lot, because they would know. And then all the darkness that's really perpetuating this earth is coming out of everything below the heart chakra. Okay, so that's what this is telling me. I know this is deep. I don't know how to make it more simple, but this is gonna be intense, and you know, we'll be focused on politics and government and all those other little things, but really what's coming through is like, no, really, women are from Venus, really, men are from Mars. The story with that is that women are inherent to the part of the universe that we're in, and men had to be trucked in from another place because men were originally slaves, workers. Anyways, so let's enter the world here. So it seems like this is just a lifetime of being off path. And, you know, what they're talking about here is it's an interesting part of the world that we're in, because it seems like the service to ourselves would be in continuing to go on this journey, and it seems like we need to be in the earth to go on this journey. So part of the story of anti-human agenda is really like they don't want the earth becoming sovereign again. They want the earth to stay in its fallen they want the earth to stay, yeah, in its fallen place, in its fallen vibration frequency. They don't want the light body of the earth to activate itself. Okay, so it's literally the spirit of the earth visiting. Okay, so I assume we have enough people here. Hi, hello, and welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. It's a delight and an honor to serve you. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. Again, I want to welcome you into Vertex of Abundance, Galactic Temple of Ascension. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. It's a delight and honor to be your oracle today. I'm here to bring some medicine from the spirit of the earth, the spirit of the ancestors, the spirit of the soul lines, the timelines. This will talk a lot about the Melchizedek seed, the authentic ones, and to the ones who are fallen. Now, there's no judgment there, but the authenticity is I'm talking about the melanated beings, the ones from kind of like pharaonic lines. Now, the fallen technologies is the false father principle, okay? And then the whole I'm hearing fractures. So anybody who's on a pole, okay, if you're in the prison system, if you're in the justice system, anybody who's polarized by Trump or black, white, poor, rich, Republican, Democrat, American, Canadian, whatever, okay? So this is the awakening. This is the apocalypse too, the truth being revealed, okay? So I'm here for that purpose, talk about those things. And again, it's a delight and an honor to serve you. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. And I don't believe in race because not ethnic race, because we are humankind, and when you take our skin away, we're all the same. And I believe the body is just drag. You get to borrow it, run it around for 80, 90 years, and you use it as a vehicle for your spiritual ascension. Pick it up and keep them moving. You want to step into higher dimensional bodies. You don't want a third dimensional vehicle forever. I can guarantee it. Now, this all starts out in our day-to-day repetitive routines, our devotional house. Okay, now it's not the traditional record I have open. I literally opened up a Stargate. I've started to publish readings and publish the medicine wheels or tablets that I use for Lodge. Now, the technology is highly encrypted. You may or may not understand. And if at any given time you want to understand, just, you know, abreast yourself of the resources, meaning come inside the gate, join the temple. But the link to that will be in the show notes. This is not according to a lodge. This is not going off a tablet. So what I need to do just real quick is tell you what reading number this will be. And let me just, okay. So the reading number that this is going to be is number 11. Well, I can, I see why we were talking about the number 11 at the beginning of the cast. And this was the HMS Grace and a Nobleman. Great. So, what's brought us in this gate here is that something's shifting. It's almost as if we are expediting energy. And what I mean by expediting energy is like we had to bring a tower down. The reason that we're here is like there's something about ourselves we need to know. And I don't think it's that usual hermit in reverse, kind of like, teacher go back to school. Kind of like, you calling yourself an elder and you ain't an elder of mine. That's the hermit in reverse. This is like there's something about us that we need to learn, and we would know it, or we would know that we were the issue if we didn't know that something got stolen from us. Like there's things humans can do that we're not aware of. Like we think people are psychic. Every human is psychic, and yeah, there's 5 of the psychic abilities, and you're always born with 2 very strong. But the fungicides, herbicides, pesticides, the chemtrails, the calcified pineal glands, the GMOs in your food, the vaccinations, the radio waves, the lead paint, asbestos, yada yada, boom bada. There you go. You're riddled with human disease, and you're spiritually afflicted. You're blocked. So normally a person might have clairvoyance or clairaudience or clairsentient, meaning clear hearing, clear seeing, clear knowing, clear feeling. So there's something about ourselves that got stolen from us, and that was our divinity. And in a way, where like the truth of like what humans can do, what humanity is about, why you descend here and incarnate in this world, like there were times in Earth's existence where it was a global truth that was known, and where there was like a global type of maybe not spirituality or religion, but like a belief. Religion is a school of belief that's organized. Spirituality is when you look outside of yourself for answers. Religion is, no, excuse me, I apologize. Spirituality is when you look inside yourself for answers. Religion is when you look outside of yourself for answers. Okay, now religion is also, I want to say, a program. It's a virus put on your hard drive. And that begins the story. So tower in reverse, boom, bada, there you go. And it's saying that there's healing, and this healing is this thing that's been stolen from us that we don't know. And it seems to me like our path through this world, the truth of our soul incarnation, and all of them together, the reason why we keep still needing to come underneath the firmament. And then that's what I can suss out about the truth. Now, it's tied into the administration, and it's tied in to the apocalypse. Now, the apocalypse is just the revealing of the truth. It's when you become aware of the truth. It's literally going to be when the goddess is staring back at you, when the veil gets lifted. Now you will see through the veil. The apocalypse is that moment, if you've seen Katniss Everdeen, I don't know what those movies are called. The Hunger Games. That moment when she shoots the arrow at that canopy of the game, and you can see through it, or the moment in the Truman Show where he begins, when he's on the water and he hits the back of the set there. That's the apocalypse. That moment where the truth, you can't go back. The moment, if you spend the summer in your uncle's house and he has a swimming pool for 3 months, and then you go back to your parents' house and you're in an apartment, that there's some type of apocalypse. That's what's coming. It's here, basically, that we're actually dealing with it already. We've already reached Judgment Day. It's just not the revelation, because we're not yet aware that Judgment Day has happened. When enough people are aware of that truth, that's that apocalypse moment. And see, there is something about us that we need to reclaim. We've been put on ice, if it seems. And so I do want to say, like, that Matrix movie is real. We are kind of in a pod somewhere serving as a battery for some type of dystopian, evil, alien overlord kind of situation. And, the gift we need to give ourselves is to build up our own autonomy, franchise, and control, to find our personal reserves, to find our place of personal power, to learn how to not just use our crown, but leverage our crown wisely and effectively. And in some parts of us, we're going to need to reclaim it. It's not just about system, structures, foundation, emperor. When it's in reverse, it's about you need to build those things up in yourself before they could be shown or recognized in the external world. And the reason is, it's the North Gate. The journey that we're on, the way that the world looks like, is we're in wrong soul groups. Our minds, our energy bodies is being stimulated, manipulated, and it's being deeply manipulated if you're on some type of pharmacology, pharmaceuticals, medicine. It means you've been taken off the organic beehive and you've been put on the false beehive. Okay. There's been manipulation of the soul groups, of the oversoul, and that's the chakra manipulation. So a lot of pushing people out of the heart chakra. What's going on? Okay, I can't deal with comments. They're just annoying me. Pardon my honesty, but I'm just not feeling comments right now. Y'all can comment amongst yourself. I'm gonna bow out. I just silence them for me. They're still available to you. Goodbye. Now, there's something about this situation that's bothering me because it's like I see the problem and I know what stench this problem brings and who started it. I know who farted. Okay, I just don't see the person. They're like hiding. Now all the cards are out. I got all 22 major arcanas, so we'll see. Because normally it would be like the Emperor in reverse or the Hierophant, and it's just not. Well, it is exactly that. Okay, so let's read the rest of the story. So if our soul groups are being manipulated, we're being pushed out of our heart into our, like, you know, if you're a man, you're taught to perpetuate the abuse. You're taught to become an abuser. So what happens in that case is you go out and wound and harm other people, and you get pushed out of your heart into your solar plexus, your ego mind, basically. And if you're female or melanated or not, I'm out of nice things to say. If you're not a little monkey, if you're not a little sheeple, if you're not a little person who went to the university on the hillside where you were put in boxes and they came all the same, if you're not made of ticky-tacky and just like them, you get subjugated, oppressed, and pushed down into your sacral. What it is you're out of the heart. So what it is you're turned upside down, your soul's in a bottle because you've given your power away through fear, assimilation, appropriation, whatever. Again, I'm running out of nice words to say. But you were put in boxes and they tried to make you come out all the same. You could be a doctor or a lawyer or a business executive, but you can't be this or that because it's not what everybody else is, and so there's something wrong with you. And you're given a word like a rebel or criminal or terrorist, and they take your goddess, your mother, the mother of your galaxy, Isis, and they give her a name like a terrorist organization. So you're all topsy-turvy because then there's news like Fox News, and there's NASA that lies to you, and politicians and governments that lie to you, and they control you, and they poison you, and they make you buy the medicine that's designed to poison you, but at a slower rate because they want to profit off your death. But first they got to steal your soul. You understand? Welcome to class. So so that's this manipulation. They've just put you in a world where you get bred upon lies and lies and lies, and you're supposed to teach them to your children and buy it and sell it and shit it and eat it and work in it and live in it and sleep in it, and but you can't question it because then that makes then there's something wrong with you. Okay, so that's the manipulation of the soul group, and then it's saying like what we need is to cultivate those talents. So find what's alive in you. The first thing is going to be in how strong is your belief. The second thing is going to be, well, do you believe in yourself? Do you know yourself? Do you know your name, your spiritual name? Do you know your origins, where you come from, what's alive in your DNA? Do you know your celestial origins? What nationhood do you have? A nation ain't I'm Bulgarian, I'm American, I'm Canadian. No, I am Gaian, Earth. I'm Syrian. I am Lyrian. I am Andromedan, Pleiadian. Okay, Arcturian. Okay, so again, lots to do, lots to talk about, lots to learn. And see, the little oppressor, the little lizard being, is laughing at you. Like, okay, homie, you ain't got no nothing, you ain't no nothing, you ain't, you know, Jerry Springer Black Girl. You ain't shit. You ain't got shit. You ain't worth shit. You ain't laundry list. But they're the one doing it. Just like the Jerry Springer Black Girl. They're the one who perpetuated the drama in the first place. And they're blaming it on you. Okay, welcome to Earth. Right? So it's cultivating the talents. Find out what's alive in you. What's your intention? What do you have to teach the world? Why do you think you're in the world? What's your soul purpose, spirit, karma, destiny? What do you know already? What's calling to you? What do you need to question? How are you conditioned? How are you programmed? Like that whole story is how you wake up. Because that's the only thing that brings you into alignment. I'm looking at the center, and that talks about the guidance for the situation. Out of 9 cards, 8 of them are in reverse. One's upright, and it's the Justice card. Ain't got no strength, courage, and wisdom. Picking the wrong soul groups, can't get away from people, places, and things. Don't know how to bring the tower down. Don't know how to use your third eye. Can't decalcify your pineal gland. Can't find the knowledge to stand right there in the face because you haven't learned the language base, the knowledge structure to ask no questions. Can't think about what to do because you don't know what to do because they told you couldn't do it and you done stopped thinking about it years ago. Can't find no strength, courage, and wisdom. Can't find no autonomy, franchise, and control over yourself. Build no foundations, no structures, no systems because all of it is designed to kill you. Now, it's interesting because the path that we're on is trying to learn the secret of the path that we're on. The path that we're on is trying to learn the secret about the path that we're on. And the secret moon card, the secret about this path that we're on is that it's to detoxify the devil, but we don't know that we need to detox. So until we burn and hurt and yearn through situations, the yearning attracts it in and the hurting repels it. We can't learn that actually we needed to live without that thing that we once desired so much. And then again, the lies that's being perpetuated is that we're being sold and conditioned and programmed and even like subconscious subliminally enticed, made lustful over these things that kill our soul, take away our power, polarize us even, split our soul's consciousness, fracture us, assign us to improper soul groups, false twin flame experiences because we're not embodying our authentic self. So we're sending out a beacon, a vibe to the wrong receptors. And so we're attracting, you hear what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm really trying to get a name for this poison they put on us. That's really what my mind, my heart, my spirit wants to know. And they're telling me it's the spell of Kingle. So the spell of Kingle is like the spell of lulling you to sleep. It's where they put you on the cross. You were once like this, sovereign, serene, eternal, had all of the wisdom of creation, eternal life all up in there, access to the pleroma. You were the matrix, you were once, and then they just put you upside down. So now you're stuck in the matrix, no access to your divinity. You're turned upside down, so you don't know the eternity of your spirit. When the Ankh is upside down, you don't know that you've been reincarnating. Now you do have access to that eternal knowledge, but since you're in the matrix, you can't see everything as it is. And if the high priest is in reverse, you're not going to figure that out. You're just not going to figure it out. Because the high priestess is the one who made the matrix or who knows the secret of the matrix. In reverse, it means either that person's never going to tell that public the secret, they're going to withdraw their energy, or even they don't know. Okay, and then with the moon upright, it's like, well, this thing is going to remain hidden. Now, something does heal if the sun is in reverse. And I'm hearing that, Azalea Banks song. Ooh boy, ooh boy, I think I noticed what you need. A little taste of ecstasy. Oh, I love her. Okay, so we need the secret of the divine feminine, is what that is. You need to learn how to deliver yourself upon her sacred, royal, eternal throne. Return the woman to her sovereignty, reveal the divine feminine, and deliver yourself upon to her. And so that would also mean going inside, turning within, understanding the yin realm, really the secrets of the divine feminine, the mysteries of Isis. So history versus mystery. Okay, you ready? Okay, history is the fuckery. It's the lie. It's the Jesus story. Sorry, oops. But really what it is like, okay, so history versus mystery. Mystery is the story of the mist. It's the story of the veil. It's the story of Kingle. Where we got lulled to sleep. It's the story of the z and the s, right? The s's and z's. It's the lulling of the consciousness, the lowering of the consciousness, the imprinting. Well, literally, once we weren't able to reach a certain consciousness, the firmament kind of got put in place, because you have to realize that the earth is us. So it has the consciousness that we have, although there's a higher consciousness that exists above, in the waters above. That's what the stars and the zodiac signs are for, because as you transit through those parts of the universe during the year, the vehicle that we're riding is the sun. We all think that things are coming or projecting through the sun. No, we use the sun as a vehicle to travel through the universe in terms of projecting. We use the moon in terms of traveling. I'm sorry, it's the reverse. We project through the moon, we travel through the sun. Okay, and then in higher states of consciousness, usually sleep, whether it's night dreaming or daydreaming, is when you go to that place, you have that experience, and then you should recognize it in your mind. And since you're not seeing with your physical eyes, you're not being lied to as much, because the physical eyes, they're a mirror. The spiritual eye will see exactly as it is. And that's the true reality, as it was actual factual in reality. Okay, and then the physical eyes will bring you under the vibration of Phi. Phi is earth, physicality. And that's typically where decay happens. Okay, so I know I just went through so much, but what is the central message? First of all, I need to tell you more about the mystery and the history. The history is the story of the colonizer. It's the story of how we fell. Now, we fell because we wanted to experience creation for ourselves in a way that gave us more things that were of the lustful nature. So, in a sense, our mother, the goddess, wanted to experience the love of her children more, instead of allowing their love of nature, being the mirror image of her, be what was experienced. So as she leaned closer to her divine creation, she fell, kind of like the story of Narcissus, but that was the story of her son. History repeated itself, because really what happened was she made a creation, and the creation took over. Okay, so in a sense, that's history. Okay, when the Atlanteans fell, when the Atlanteans came here, really, Atlanteans was the beginning of the patriarchy stepping into the physical. But us coming to Earth in the way that we did when we began living on land, that was already something fallen. Because Earth is on water, water's not on Earth. Earth came after water, okay? Earth came after water. So, so I don't want to get too convoluted, but then it goes into like the whole anchoring of the celestial energy into the physical. So the whole lying about the Sphinx, the whole lying about the pyramids, that did a whole bunch of things as well. So then putting us on minutes and hours, hours being Horus, it divided the divinity into specific parts of the universe, and then according to where you live, the universe being all of Earth. Okay, so above Earth is is the spiritual, and then on Earth is the physical, and that's what the Bible is talking about. When it talks about the heavens, it's talking about the stars. When it talks about the Earth, it's talking about your body. Okay, just so you know. So, so that's the story of that's history, and they lied to you so that you wouldn't know exactly where you fell from. You wouldn't know exactly how to get back there. You wouldn't know what to call it. You wouldn't know that it existed, and you couldn't tie it into yourself, your own understanding, your own cosmology, your own physiology, and initiate yourself to return home. Okay? So they made it so you always have to look outside of yourself for answers instead of go within. So the mysteries is when you learn how to correlate what's in the heavens and the cycles going on around you to what's alive in you, and unlock it within you if you could actually witness life, nature, God for what it is. So the goddess is the consciousness of life, which is called nature, and life itself would be the sun, but in life there's death. Everything under the sun comes to die. So in that place, that's where darkness lives. Okay? So you're born in the dark, but you must come to light in order to make yourself real or make yourself eternal. Again, that's something I need to elaborate in mystery school. I can't elaborate it now. So let's get a little medicine. I'm going to cut out the first 20 minutes. 27. Ooh boy, ooh boy, ooh boy. What song is that? I think I noticed what you need. Ooh boy, ooh boy. A little taste of ecstasy. I don't know the words, but I'll be right there with her. I love Azalea Banks. I know she's a naughty girl, but I love me some Azalea. Don't care about no Cardi, no Nicki, no um, Iggy. I'm Azalea Banks all the way. Nothing but love for you. Nothing but love. Anyways, okay, so impartiality and soulmate. So you need to get beat up in order to learn what is eternal. And you're veiled. So eternity is veiled right in front of you. So we're thinking that heaven is some other place. And in reality is right here, right now. And I'll read to you the rubric for the Mystery School. Not that it's anything bombastic, but I'm just going to say, I am the center of expression for the primal will to good, which eternally creates and sustains the universe. So you need a desire, something to attract you. You need to see some type of light in the darkness, because seeing light in the darkness and striving to go towards it is how you gain knowledge of the self. You don't come into knowledge of the self by striving, but the striving is the expression of life at this time which you're unaware of. Through me, its unfailing wisdom takes form in thought and word. So you do eventually come into knowledge of the self, faith. Faith that you have the wisdom to accomplish that in which attracts your desire. That's number 2 of the rubric for Mystery School. 3, filled with the understanding of its perfect law, I am guided moment by moment along the path of liberation. So we have will, wisdom, understanding, and that is dissipating. So this is a little bit difficult to understand, dissipating, because it is positive, but through understanding that something could be lost, through understanding that something is temporal in its existence. Either it exists here and now, or I can see it, I might not see it tomorrow, or it may be in a different state tomorrow, so I need to go to it now, right? And then understanding what is permanent, like there's an opportunity in front of me right now, I can watch this TV show later, versus, well, I don't want to be uncomfortable and I have more energy later, so I'll do it later, and right now I'm just going to waste myself. Okay, and again, having the desire for something is what creates it. And then recognizing it or seeing it in a place where it hasn't yet stepped into the physical, that is tying it with an emotion, moves you towards it. Manifest it. And then when you move towards it, when you take decisive action, that's what creates it, materializes it. So by thinking you create it, by acting you receive it, and then when you actually physically act, you manifest it out of the physical. I'm going to say that a third time in a different way. By thinking it, you create it, but that actually, before the thought comes, is a burning desire. So you have a need, a desire for something, and that actually creates the archetype of it. It summons the forces of the universe to bring it into being. But being isn't when it's in the third dimension, because this is a false dimension. It is fake. It is where we come to learn. It is the università, okay, the university. Universe, united in conflict, united in the one song, the one vibration. Now, the one word. Now, when you think it, you create it, okay, and then you attach a burning desire. So that manifests it. And then when you apply decisive action or massive action, that materializes it. Matter. Okay, because manifestation is not always something coming in the third dimension. Okay, so we have will, wisdom, understanding. Now we have substance. So from the exhaustive riches of its limitless substance, I draw all things needful, both spiritual and material. Okay, so you go from I'm the center of expression of primal will to do good. Through me, its unfailing wisdom takes place in thought and form. Filled with the understanding of its perfect law, I am guided moment by moment. Do you see how you have that burning desire and you're guided? Something that the divine providence acts within you, because until you have awareness, there is no evil. That's why the Fool is so child and divine in its nature, because it has the propensity to experience. Its only desire is to go towards what it sees. It doesn't think about, oh, but a monster might jump out from around the corner and eat me, or this dog might bite me in the leg, or, well, what if I fail? I mean, it hasn't gotten that far. So there's no evil yet. There's no mirror opposite. There's no derision, division, no split. Okay. Then from the exhaustive riches of its limitless substance, I draw all things needful, both spiritual and material. That's substance. Then we have justice. I recognize the manifestation of the undeviating justice in all of the circumstances of my life. Gratitude. Okay? So, again, that's what this is a bigger mystery to me, that we go from enlightenment, which is the threshold which spirit enters in through the door, and then we have the form, the shape that it takes on, and it would begin to tell you its power, but an unawakened person won't know nothing there. So let's keep going. In all things great and small, well, 6 is a great number, but it oftentimes means spiritual descent. Niggas get all caught up in that. Excuse me. That was a gorgeous slip. People like to feel good. They seek comfort a lot more than work. And I'm like, you can deal with the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, girl. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Homie, let me just tell you something. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Where you acting from? Who's acting through you? Is it you alive in you, or is something dangling you around like a little Pinocchio, little puppet? Okay, so joy is what we got for this. In all things great and small, I see the beauty of the divine expression. So, again, this is on the grounds of guilt. So, you know, a lot of times I'm doing this. Okay, let me just break away. Little tiny bit of a quick mini sermon. I do this every time around certain. You have 9 birthdays, y'all. The degree that your moon was at the time of your birth, your Venus, your Mercury, your. So I know exactly when my birthdays are because I'm a boss that way. And I have my own individual cycles that I go through, and I'm aware of what they are because I'm not, you know, unawakened. And we all are in some way, but not at the 3rd dimensional level. I got a lot of work to do, and I know exactly what it is, and I'm lazy, and I don't want to do it, but it ain't the average person's work, okay? So I have this thing every year where I'll go through every emotion that I've had some type of lover make me feel. And a lot of times I reminisce and dream a lot more about the missed opportunities. And I had this story a lot in my early adolescence where I'd have people interested in me, and I wouldn't know that they were interested in me until they're like screaming in my face, calling me a tease, and walking out of my life saying they never wanted to speak to me again. And I had this one experience back in 2012 that woke me up. It was one of my awakenings. Probably one of my more tangible, earlier awakenings, probably 1st or 2nd awakening. First level is when you open up the 4th, 5th, 6th chakra, or your heart opens and you begin to harmonize with the earth. And then second awakening would be when your 3rd eye and crown and galactic chakra start to open up and you begin to realize that you're a galactic citizen. So probably around one of those earlier awakenings, probably my 1st awakening. And it was very specific. I had this lover. I went away to a shaman's gathering in New Mexico. And, you know, over the weekend, I met some beautiful creatures and, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And there was one where we were kind of like lockstep. And within 4 days, we're like crying in each other's arms and planning our lives together. Some weird U-Haul lesbian story. Even though I'm a gay man, I have the U-Haul lesbian tendency. Because I'm very picky, and then I find one person, I'm like, okay, I'll take you, and then let's move in together. No, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes, but you know, exception versus the rule. So me and this person were like soulmates in 4 days, right? So, like, this is like a 10-day gathering in the middle of the desert, and it happens every year in August. And, like, you know, shamans from around the world come from, like, you know, South America, Russia, Bulgaria, you know, Aboriginal Australian, you know, Eskimo Alaskan. Every shaman and healer comes. So, and this person's a glamour makeup artist. That's their work. And they do curanderia from the northern hills of northern New Mexico, you know, like the Spanish families that have been in New Mexico for like 400, 500 years. So this little mofo head, day number 6, walks up to me and it's like, when I first met you, I saw the light in your eyes, and now I realize you're an ice cold bitch. Doesn't just about face walk away from me, but walks out of my life forever. And keep in mind, like, we're members of the same community, same church. I run into them around town. Because this is like one of the local shamans from New Mexico. You know, we're in a retreat space, but when I go back to town, I'm going to see this dude. We're in the same community, going to see this. I proceed to have the devil come out of me. And slowly but surely, week after week, I see the devil change into a scared little puppy. And the amount, like the notes, right? I ended up stumbling deeper into my chart, and that's when I became a good astrologer. So these are these earth moments to me when you come in and you're completely in the dark, and there's things about yourself that every higher spiritual being around you knows. When you wake up and your third eye opens and activates, you'll look out into the sky and you'll see what's called the astral parking lot. A bunch of spaceships are around watching the humans fuck it up. That's what's going on. So this was me. I'm like, cold water in the face. He like walks out of my life forever. You know, explosion, tower moment, right? And then my devil comes out like, you know, F you, this little boy, little man, child, I don't need you. 3 days later, I'm bawling like a baby in the shower. So I did that work, got my chart, learned myself, who I was, what was alive in me. I found a book, The Science of Astrology. It knew more about me than I knew about myself. I thought it was very invasive how a book written before you were born could know more about you than you know about yourself. But welcome to astrology. And then it took me like 2 years where I'm face to face with this person. They won't even look at me and acknowledge me. And, you know, and I knew they were like in the community hearing me because I would text them like, hey, you know, this friend of ours having an art show, or this friend of ours is getting this promotion. This friend of ours is graduating, you know, they're becoming a physician's assistant, you know, come to this community thing, come to this community thing, come to this community thing. You know, because they were a hoe, so nobody talked to them. And they would show up and cause trouble and drama, and I'm still like wanting acknowledgement from them, and they're like acknowledging everyone but me. To like, okay, now I see my value. Now I see myself now. Now I'm in the astral parking lot watching the newbies, the neophytes, the newcomers. So that's what Earth is. There's all these higher vibrational, higher beings that know more about you than you know about yourself. And see, when you're in the third dimension, fourth dimension, there's the crooks that can harm you, and there's no law that you're aware of that will protect you. And so the way that you learn is through karma, getting hurt, getting effed up, bruised up, slapped around, leeched, getting a psychic vampire, an actual vampire, an incubus, a succubus, a demon, a djinn, a genie, a fairy, a sylph, you know, and then you ascend. Welcome to Earth. So if you can't find joy and gratitude in these experiences, you're going to be carrying around wounding, complacency, guilt. You need to grow through what you go through. And see, that's why I started this story, because every year, especially immediately before or after Venus retrograde. So that's I'm not going to go into the details, but I've been thinking about a lot of missed opportunities. And I used to, when I did that, have these things in my head like, you know, if I were more agreeable. Normally I have an issue where a person that I'm attracted to is attracted to me as well, and they can't approach me for whatever reason. And then a year later they're with somebody else, and I smile at them, I say hi to them, they're like, oh, I thought you didn't like me. And I'm like, oh, very opposite of that. I actually, I want to lick your face, I'll say to them. They're like, oh my gosh. And it will come to discover missed opportunity. And so I've been going through a lot of that. And for me, it's always like love. I'm a Cancer. I have a lot of 8th house stuff. I'm very Venusian in my ways. Everything to me is beautiful. I have Venus opposed Neptune. I get lulled by beauty. Venus in a boy will send me crazy. Anybody who's like a Piscean artist or has tattoo sleeves or looks like Kurt Cobain is going to go, overdose tomorrow. I want to marry you. And it's interesting work when you take that inventory and you do that work. And there's two worlds. There's this human world, yellow, where you're doing your work and you're an angel and you're trying to unify with the divine. So that's why we're chasing love. And for most of us who keep going into these effed up love situations, you know, just one after another after another. You're trying to unify with the divine, and you're doing it through another human being. You're already angelic in your nature, and you're trying to get back into the divine realm, that purple. But you're doing divine things like disassociating, using spirits, doing, you know, changing your consciousness, but it's not in a way that's authentic or in alignment. It's something that's temporary. Okay, so that's what came through, and I'm gonna check in with these comments real quick. Okay, y'all funny. Yes, and I am hot and cold like that. The Aquarius, you need to appeal to me in a very aesthetically pleasing, refined, poignant, erudite, mental faculty. You get my mind when once my body is activated, my heart is activated. Once my heart is activated, my body's activated. Once my body's activated, we're ready to go. But like it's a 3-step process. It's like a little magical. I think with my big head. Let's put it that way. And I'm not compelled by lust or physical stimulation. My love language is not touch. It's not gifts. It's words and quality time. So unless you could be authentic and put in the extra effort, you ain't gonna get nothing. And you know, that's the Aquarian gift and curse. So the next one we have is living from that will, supported by its unfailing wisdom and understanding, mine is the victorious life. So what was I saying? You got to go from the where you have joy, guilt, polarized, you know, sacral chakra, solar plexus, to the transformation, the phoenix. So you'll die in the fire, but you'll be born and renewed, purified, and then you'll go. So this is phoenix energy, because you have to have death or you won't have a peeking into the spiritual. And unless you have death and connection to your ancestors, you're not going to have a lot of, until you become initiated, you can't command your spirits. So your ancestors are the ones helping you out. And see, a lot of people get to the gate and they have spirits they can command, but their ancestors block everything because they keep on, and the ancestors block it, not when you're not respecting them, but when you're not respecting your own power. So if you are a queen and you keep going and sleeping with peasants and you're not aware that you're helping those less fortunate than you, your ancestors will block you. Example, you see that a person's a demon as you get with them, but since you see a little bit of a light in them, you want to keep working with them. Or you want to go become boyfriends with this person that you clearly need to heal, and you see all their need for healing, but you touch their genitals anyways. Another way it might look like is when, you know, this person in society, in your community, in your network is being ostracized by everybody. People are releasing them. They're purifying. They're, you know, bye. And then you're like, oh, come be my friend, demon. Because you see the good in them, but they don't see the good in them. How does it matter how good you see them as, unless they want to work with that light? You hear what I'm saying? So that's when the ancestors will block you, because you can't be from the light and continue to give to the darkness. I mean, you can't take from a poisoned cup and expect your cup to remain pure. And you can't heal somebody that's trying to poison you. You can only give somebody medicine if they want to be healed. If they're still toxic, that's the thing about a detox. Yeah, you may be able to get those toxins out of your body, but if you keep putting them back in, you hear what I'm saying? So living from that will, supported by its unfailing wisdom, the law of the universe will speak to you gently, then loudly, then it'll smack you across the face and put a blockage in front of you so you can't get nowhere until you learn your lesson. You're going to get the same shit in a different toilet, the same ass ugly dress in a different color, until you can recognize you need to stop shopping at that store. Go to a different store. Okay, so I look forward with confidence to the perfect realization of the external splendor of the limited light. Limited light is the human perspective. So you see what you are, and this is limited light, okay? So the universe is what you is. You don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you is. Okay, And then we have the guidance of expansion. I look forward with confidence to the perfect realization of external splendor of the limited light. Growth. Two more. Bittersweet and despondence. So despondence is very difficult to deal with because it's in the spiritual energy, and I suffer from that at times. That's that. Somebody writes you $1 million check and you're pissed off because they wrote tomorrow's date on it. You have to wait less than 24 hours to have $1 million. Okay. Or somebody gives you $1 million check and you're like, well, why couldn't you write it out to cash? You know, stuff like that, you know. The man of your dreams that just come and stood before you and got down on one knee and asked to marry you, and all you can think about is the cowlick on his head when he's popping off at a question. Put a ring on it. You know, little stuff like that. That's despondence, and it's very difficult. The more spiritual you are, the harder that is to deal with. Because you can find, there are people in the world that can find a solution for any problem, and there are people in the world that can find a problem for any solution. Despondence. Look at that little girl with her sour ass face. You have the goddess in front of you, girl. Why the frown? Okay, and then these look like orchids to me. They might be, they're not. They're irises. But I just love orchids. If I see an orchid, I have so much joy just to see an orchid. I think orchids are some of the most beautiful flowers. The whole orchid family, but okay, so we're just going to number 9. So in thought and word and deed, I rest my life from day to day upon the sure foundation of eternal being. So life is in climbing that mountain, going to the next mountain, going to the next mountain, going to the next mountain. When you're done climbing mountains, honey, you in a grave. So you're done when you're done. And if you, okay, you know, harmony is great in business and love and relationships, but being addicted to harmony, that's the challenge. That's the conflict. So what you want to do is realize that adversity is the catalyst for success. And I have, okay, a little bit of my research. You know, recently in my studies, and my studies are a little bit intense. I get yelled at during my studies because I go in and I meditate. And Sekhmet is there. And Sekhmet's much nicer in the yin realm than in the outer realm. But you want to talk to Sekhmet when she hasn't taken on a physical form, whether it's in the third dimension or in any of the higher realms. Because when she comes into a form, it's very much reversals, if apocalyptic. So, Sekhmet told me, like, finding light in the darkness is your own form of death. Finding light in the darkness is a type of destruction. And things being destroyed sometimes creates the light in the darkness that one needs to see to illuminate themselves. And I was like, mind blown. So let's talk a little bit about this in a different way, shape, form. Let's check in with with the temple here, the ministry, and see what, okay. So I need to just check in with Anubis real quick. Yeah, so boundaries. So the thing about it is like when I said, you come into the physical, you need to find the divinity alive in you. And in order to do that, you need to find light, illuminate yourself. If you don't have knowledge of the self, you're never gonna know if what you're getting, what you're taking is worthwhile. Somebody can always lie to you. If you don't know how to ask questions, you don't know how to make value assessments. And if you can't make value assessments, you can't make value judgments. If you can't make value judgments, you don't have right boundaries because you cannot discern what your needs are. And I'm sorry to be so roundabout convoluted, but boom, dotted, there you go. You will lose. This is what you end up being. You will lose 5 of Pentacles if you don't find your place in the soul group, okay? Find your power in this world. 7 is always about power. Typically, it's your personal power in this world. 5 turns into 7. 7 plus 5 is the 12. That, again, is discernment. The queen is 12. So the queen is the mental body. Because again, if you don't know your place in this world, your power in this world, you're not going to be able to find your place in the soul group. If you don't know your power in this world, you're not going to find your place in the soul group. You'll never enter the gate. And there we go. We have that magic number 11 again. 10 plus 1 is 11. So 11 is the number in this deck. It's the number of the page. Page is a petition. By the way, the page of swords would be Venus in an air sign, and this is Venus in Aquarius. So you need to petition yourself. You need to do it for yourself. You need to get it for yourself. You don't do it for your mama. You don't do it for your brother. You don't do it for your lover. You do it for yourself. If you're doing reasons for things outside of you, it's not eternal. You can't take it to you to the next lifetime. Okay, so make sure that what you're putting your heart and soul into, Venus, your love, your unconditional love, is eternal, is divine in its nature. It isn't something that is demonic in its nature. Okay, so, and I'm hearing that. Oop, Azalea Banks is agreeing with me. Okay, so I guess we're going to talk about spiritual boundaries. And let's just consult the ancestors real quick, and they came right out. Yeah, again, they're talking to the Chambasis here, the Ayizan, which is the ones who have a covenant, the ones who are veiled and married to spirit. So understand that you are the physical vessel of the soul group to move through. And you have anchored in the timeline for your ancestral lines, and it would be the spirits that are divine in nature, the Sattvic spirits. Okay, so the righteous ones, the dharmic ones. And this is on the grounds of burdens we take on in the physical. Okay, so this is on the grounds of burdens we take on in the physical. So we need to take on this burden, and also it is going to be suffering in some way if we're not doing it from a spiritual standpoint. If we're stuck in the physical and we're under this firmament and we don't allow our minds to take off in its ability, if you can imagine it, it's real. So don't birth a thought and kill a thought in the same sentence. If there's a desire, if there's a drive, if your spirit wants to move towards something, move towards it. And if your mind is like, oh, I can, or oh, my uncle tried to start a business and failed, or oh my gosh, my friend invested $10,000 in the market and failed. Devil on the left shoulder. Okay, so because your thoughts, this is a swords card, can manifest realities. Mercury in Taurus. So the belief will manifest the physical reality. Now, in this deck specifically, this is taking on the burden of needing to have boundaries, of needing to be conscientious in the face of real adversity, in the face of a real obstacle, because there's going to be a lot going on under the surface. Two nines in the readings. Unless it's love, it means extreme isolation, needing to spend time alone, needing to withdraw your energy, needing to put something on freeze, needing to put something on hold. Here it means needing to understand the navigation. 9 is a number of calling to the spirits, to command the spirits. So here it talks about, okay, homie, there's a lot going on up underneath the surface here. You got to take on some burdens. You got to hide your emotions. You got to eye on the prize, get to business, focus, hustle up, handle up, okay? But you got something going on. You got to have both sides of you on the right, on the ready. Got to have the demon on the left shoulder and on the right shoulder acting in unison, okay? So just, again, be aware that your thoughts create your reality. Why? Because your thinking affects the feelings affect the actions affect the results reinforce the thinking affects the feeling. You feel how you feel because of what you decide to think. You decide what you're thinking based off your belief system, and your beliefs are based off your programming. Okay, now what's hiding behind the surface is that we all come from the goddess, and you heard we are reborn like a drop of rain falling to the ocean. So here's what it is. Okay, you're in eternal partnership with Great Spirit, and you work for the collective with the Great Mother. So even though you descend to a limited, fixed, finite point of time, there is something eternal about it. There is something that reaches past, present, and future in the same place, at the same time, at all times. Was that a mouthful or what? So let me just recap. We have, oops, hold on. There we go, proper order. So there's 11 swords here. there's really another sword if you look there, but I'll use the numbers. You have 9 swords here, 2 swords there. So that's 11 swords. That's a petition to spirit. Now, what's being petitioned would be this other 9, just because numerology and my rules. So it would mean a working of the spirit. You need to complete a journey of your ashe, of your spirit. And how it's doing is through a working. And the working here is physical incarnation, being assigned flesh, being assigned a body. Now, that requires diligence because this is the movement now. Okay, so I went from... It's noisy here in the temple today. I was just processing. So in this situation, what I'm hearing from the ancestors is like, okay, so now you know you're in the physical, you're on your own, and you're isolated from all of your memory, but you're stuck in the physical. So you need to be mindful, cautious. You need to be aware of the pitfalls. The main thing here is your mind. You could be nasty ooga booga, but you get your mind right. Because when you gain control over a person's mind, you gain control over their soul. And remember, this is the explanation of this. So this could be a pregnancy, this can be a liberation, this can be an initiation, growth, expansion, vitality, renewal, self-worth and value, nurturing creative endeavors, nurturing things into creation. Okay. Also being the physical part of the soul group. Now, I want to see if we can tie the medicine in. Pardon me, I'm unprepared. I'm going to do some quick technology. It might already be prepared for me. Okay. It is already prepared. Y'all know I always split my decks. Okay, so let's see the guidance. So we have Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy, Sandalphon, Angel of New Life, and Angel of Dreams. So to the left, we have the Angel of Mercy. To the right, we have the Angel of Dreams. And we have the Angel of Life in the middle. And then on the path that we're on, is Malkuth. Okay. So I just heard so much, and Mama got mad. So, that was just a knife in the heart. And see, where we're sitting in is this. So we're under fallen technologies. Let me just say it point blank, and I'm not going to cut out the first of this video. I'm just going to leave it be. Pardon the sermon this week. It is messy. It is ratchet. It is all over the place. And it is long. But you're welcome. So, we're under fallen technologies. We are fallen. We are hung up on a cross. We are put in a bottle. We are hammered onto a tree. Some devil called the Anunnaki, called the Rothschilds, called the lizard people, called the little reptiles, and the mother effer doing the mother effing SHIT, sugar honey iced tea. It is all effed up. Foobarred. Effed up beyond all repair. Okay? And it's this fallen technology because we're only alive in the dream realm is what I'm picking up. So we're sitting here looking at light, but it's a refraction of a light, which is furthermore dividing our power. And how we come in here is in a dream state. So we're in a dream within a dream. And it is of my belief that, see, in the sixth dimension, if you think of an archetype, it starts to get created. And if you have a strong enough belief, it takes on a physical form because the archetype takes on a thought form. Thought forms can come to life. You can even turn them into entities. And then when you attach an emotion, which is energy in motion, you begin to manifest it in the lower realm. The real manifest realm is the astral realm. The dream world is the real world, okay? So in that place, we're actually what's called an astral body, which is a type of denser gas. We have the noble gases, which is the etheric body, and then there's other gases that it takes on. Okay? So that's what's going on. And we're in a dream within our dream. So when you think of something in the dream world, it literally gets created right in front of you. So when we ascend to the higher vibration after the apocalypse, after we go into the new earth, not the new world order, but the new earth, It'll happen where when we think something, it gets created right in front of us, and then you can actually project into your creation. That's what the real dream world is. Okay, but the thing is, we forgot that we projected into our own projection. So we traveled into our own projection, which was a figment of our imagination because we were dreaming and we're lost in that dream. And so this is what it's telling me here. And it's saying that the angel of mercy, so we're sitting here, because this is to the left. This is what we should know to liberate ourselves out of this world. We're thinking mercy instead of dreams. So instead of using our innate given abilities, we're thinking and hoping and wishing and praying for something outside of ourselves to come in and deliver us from ourselves. Are you kidding me? That is such a that's like trying to tell the lamb. That's like trying to tell a lion that they're a lamb. Don't make no sense. That baby elephant at the circus tied to a tree when it's like a day old. Now it's a grown-ass elephant still thinks it can't run away from the tree when it can literally uproot that tree. To tame a divine being like that just breaks my heart, and that's what this is. So this is where we are, the nature of the situation, and what we need to understand here is new life. It doesn't come through time. You destroy yourself being caught up and pinned down to time. And I'm glad I caught myself. I'm hearing Rammstein. I'm sure some of you can think what I was hearing. But I was a goth in high school. I listened to a lot of metal. I listened to Rammstein. I'm hearing that do hush nicht. I'm hearing the Rammstein song. Those ravers know what I'm talking about. So when the time is right, the twin angel will return. Sandalphon will be the first, and now we follow it forward along the shoreline into the water when we return back to the divine beings that we are. Sandalphon's footstep brings with it great fear, but also awe and hope. With each step, we move closer to the conclusion and a new beginning. Embrace this new epoch. Sometimes I pronounce epoch differently, but that's the way it came out. Embrace this new epoch. What has come has already passed. What will be is still a dream. We have the angel of dreams here. Sandalphon flows through it all. When a new era emerges, the blood of the twin angel brings fertility to everything it touches. Angelarium too was formed this way. So too will the next world born in the wake of Sandalphon. This is a wheel within a wheel, a wheel within a wheel, a spiral. So that's what the third dimension is. To me, it's like somebody going to God's computer, which is the fourth dimension, and installing a little flash drive in. Just like putting the little rink-a-dink thingamabobber-jigger-wigger. Okay, I talk weird, but okay, I don't have my flash drive here on the table. But you know, the little flash drive, that's all it is. That's what the third dimension is. It's a flash drive in God's computer. A space within a space. It's like a mirrored hard drive, a partitioned hard drive on your operating system. And that's literally what I was getting. So what's the technology around that? Let's bring out some more energy just to understand that a little bit. Because if mercy is to the left and dreams is to the right, that's backwards. Mercy should be on the right, dreams should be on the left. So what it means is they've given us our Jesus and they took our Christ. So that means soul subjugation, galactic slavery. That's the Matrix shit. Caught up on some stupid, been given some human as programming of husbandry and money fuckery. That's literally what it is. Caught up on some stupid, don't know nothing about soul liberation, spiritual ascension. And that's the awakened human. Literally, when you're caught up on the mess, you need to literally divide, separate, withdraw your energy from everything that you get conditioned and programmed into. The whole story, beginning and preschool. Okay, so the 5 of fire fell out, and that's what I was feeling, 8 of air. So, I love my job. So what was in my mind was the fallen technology that the oppressor uses to control. And it's called the cabal. Okay. So the cabal is the circle of power, and literally it's where you get contained, where you can't grow bigger than. So we have the 8 of air and the 5 of fire. So the 5 of wands means agendas. You have an ambition and someone sees your ambition and doesn't want you to have personal power, so they get in the way. And it could be simple as competing with you to literally going behind your back and creating obstacles so that you don't get something. For instance, finding the perfect job and interviewing for the job and getting the job would be the 6 of wands. Finding the perfect job that fits for you, needing to go to your interview would be the 4 of wands. Competing for that job would be the 5 of wands. Does that make sense? Or it could be anything. It's agendas. It could be, but it can come up as jealousy. It could come up as pettiness. It could come up as egos, but it's agenda. And to me, it's like the fungicides, herbicides, pesticides, chemtrails, the mainstream media propaganda, the false flags, the false news, the fake news, the vilification, the polarization of humanity. That's what I'm seeing with this 5. And it says competing goals, bothersome details, conflict with others. And then we have an illusion of being trapped, a lack of self-confidence, afraid to take action. This is the 8 of air. So to me, the 8 of wands is when you come to the gate and you can't be let through it. Now, technically, it's Gemini. It's Jupiter and Gemini. So, okay, I don't want to explain, but since I'm doing it today, why don't we do it, right? Okay, so Jupiter aligns you with the realm that you're in. So that's why it talks about law, because it's the archetype. It's the creme de la creme. It gets you to the arch, the top. Another word for arch is the cap or the capstone. So it is the capstone on top of any pyramid. That's what Jupiter is. It's what gets you to the other side. It literally is what connects you with those who can make decisions. So we call it the sky gods because the people that are empowered typically live in an ivory tower. Y'all, the mystery is right in front of you. Okay, so on a more alchemical, metaphysical level, let's talk about Jupiter now. Jupiter is the tone, frequency, vibration for which things kind of come in. So it takes on, sacred geometry. That's what Jupiter. Now, sacred geometry is Venus, the form that things take on. But the shapes or the different types of sacred geometry, that's ruled by Jupiter. And we call it resonance. So if you really want to look at the law of Jupiter, go and study the field of cymatics. C as in Charlie, Y-A-M-A-T-I-C-S, cymatics. Okay, so the resonance, the harmony. Okay, so everybody has an affinity. It might not, some people like to hang out with devils. Some people like to hang out with angels. Everybody has an affinity. The concept and idea of affinity itself is ruled by Jupiter. Again, resonance, affinity. Those are ruled by Jupiter. Okay. Now, Jupiter coming into Gemini. Gemini is the quick exchange of ideas, skill sets, trade, exchange of information. It is the mutability of the mind. It is literally finding that something works for you or doesn't work for you. It feels good or it doesn't feel good. You can figure it out or you can't figure it out. It can happen or it can't happen, okay? So when Jupiter comes to Gemini, what happens is your wisdom, your way of doing things won't align with that current system, with that current structure. It won't take off. Do you see it? It won't get going. You're too different than the rest of them. Does that make sense? Your belief, your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience doesn't. So oftentimes it tells me that the way you're trying to enter or the way you're trying to access or the way you're trying to get things done doesn't work because of agendas. You being authentic yourself is going to bring you to destruction on a spiritual level unless you can go inside and do it. You might need to acquiesce. You might need to succumb to the laws of the world that you're in or change the world that you are. So unless you want to be free, you're going to need to not quit that. Unless you want to truly be free, you're going to need to stay at that job. because in order to be the individual you are, you're going to lose that job. So you need to weigh it out. Okay. Now, spiritually, you can say you're as free as you want to be. Spiritually, you could be as wild and rebellious as you want to be. But in the physical, since you have to get your needs met and you have some certain agreement, example. Okay. Now, to me, when I see these two cards, I have to talk to the person about BDSM. I do. I'm going to say it. And I need to talk to them about an open relationship eventually. So I would say to this person, well, it seems like one person is kind of sadistic and the other person is kind of submissive, and they need better arrangements. They need to communicate a little bit stronger. I don't think this person is your perfect dom or your perfect sub. It seems like you want to be masochistic and the other person likes other people to tell them what to do. So they're submissive because they don't want to make decisions for themselves, not because they enjoy serving and they find pleasure in pain. Okay, I could take it there with you. You know, I'm not very far from the BDSM community, although none of your damn business. Now, another one would be open relationships. Okay, it would seem like one person wants options, but they want to judge things from an emotional standpoint. So to me, this is a person who thinks people should feel a certain way, should think a certain way, should say things a certain way. I tend to laugh at funerals. When people are getting murdered in the movies, I'm typically cackling, I'm giggling. And people are like, well, this isn't a funny part of the movie. And I'm like, fuck you and your mama. Who the hell are you to say what's funny? I'm out in front individualistic, homie. You don't need to tell me what's funny. I can laugh on my own. I can cry on my own. You can shut the fuck up and watch the movie. Okay? So, but see, that would be... So to me, when I arrive at the Five of Wands, I just immediately become the Six of Wands because I have Jupiter in the fifth house. I have Jupiter in the natal house of Leo. So when I'm at a Five of Wands situation, somebody calls me a faggot. I'm like, yes. Unless you want to stick your dick in my mouth, we don't need to talk about it, do we? Boom. Five of Wands over. We're now at the Six of Wands. Next. But not everybody could be like that. You know, somebody goes, well, you know, he's my man. Bitch, if I can steal him, he ain't your man. Bye. Next. You know, Six of Wands, where you at? Not everybody is like that. So understand, when you get at that gate, speaking your truth may give you some agendas, may give you some competition, may give you some struggles. Okay? So it's that way, but that's what the Eight of Wands is. It's kind of like there's a truth to you, there's an authenticity to you that you're not going to necessarily be able to get permission for. So unless you can make a new law, you have to figure out a different law to navigate this world. This is the sermon this week. I don't know what's coming through me, but I don't make a habit of stealing people's man, you know. I'm not into monogamous relationships myself anyways, so you know, if you have kids at home or wife at home, if you need to justify your existence to somebody or ask permission to get your needs met, I don't want to mess with you. That's my belief. Okay. So if there's somebody at home who's going to object, like, your story's already boring me, bye. Oops. But I mean, that's the reality. Now, again, this is... when I see the Eight of Wands, I mean the Eight of Swords in a reading, especially a relationship reading, like, y'all need to be open and y'all need to find a way to be secure in yourself and understand that you're not in a relationship with a person, you're in a relationship, which is a partnership. And if you don't have mutually beneficial, nourishing, shared, exchangeable needs, that relationship's not going to grow. So you're either growing together, you're growing apart. Both are fine. See, the Eight of Swords is going to tell you, well, we're going apart, ooga booga, the world's ending. No, honey, maybe your relationship served its purpose, and you need to figure out what your needs were getting in the relationship and figure out if you're still getting them met. And if you ain't, figure out how to get up out of there and realize that God just blessed you with a way out. And you sitting there confused because you're stupid. You're caught on stupid. You're stuck on stupid. You're smoking something stupid. I don't know which it is, but it's something kind of stupid. Now, Five of Wands would mean that you're dogged and you want to keep things the same even though you're being invited to grow. You left the Four of Wands, perfect spiritual foundation, and you're on your way to the Six of Wands, victory. And you want to stay at strife. But that means is when it's time to grow, you find that difficult. And you'd rather deal with the devil that you know versus the devil that you don't know, which ain't a devil. It's victory. By definition, Saturn, Asuras. Venus, Asuras. Jupiter, the Devas. Jupiter is Indra, the king of the Devas. So people are like, and you want to deal with Saturn, Shani. Let me tell you what Saturn energy is. Saturn is the demons. Saturn is K2. That's Saturn, K2 energy. So it's funny because people want to kind of judge from an emotional standpoint, and that's why the colonizer is able to manipulate you and to fool you and to sidetrack you, get you caught up on something that don't matter. While really, right there, you're giving your permission away for him to take something that is everything, matters more than anything. And you do this on a regular basis. We do this on a regular basis. We are penny wise, pound foolish. And when we get given opportunities to count pounds instead of pennies, we think something's wrong because we're conditioned and we're programmed to do those types of things. And so we'll kill ourselves. We'll spend all year planning a 2-week vacation. We won't spend 2 weeks planning our financial life, our retirement, our you hear what I'm saying? Like a person will save their entire life to go to Hawaii and they won't go to Mount Rushmore. They won't go to Niagara Falls. They won't go to the Grand Canyon. They won't go to Yosemite. They won't go to Yellowstone. They won't go to Washington, D.C., which is some fuckery too, but next story. You hear what I'm saying, right? A person will, go 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 into debt to buy Christmas presents, which is devil magic, by the way. Okay? And they will sell you on every reason why they got it. So I'm the 8 of Swords all the time. No, I won't come to your Christmas party. I don't care about your birthday. You're not going to get a present from me unless you pop out a baby, buy a house, or retire from your job. At 16, I sent an email to everybody and said, excuse me, all the money I've been saving for your Christmas presents, I'm going to invest it. You ain't getting no present from me. Next. What do you think happened? 5 of Wands. Well, what do you like Christmas and what about family? And try to, feel bad about your decisions. People were trying to say to me, let me guilt you. 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 Well, I bought you a present. It sounds like you're a problem. That's going to get you a 5 of Wands. That's going to get you an 8 of Swords. But that's what's also going to get you peace of mind, boundaries, autonomy, franchise, and control over the self, security in one's own self, systems, structures, foundations, self-governance, self-mastery, strength, courage, and wisdom. Somebody said to me, well, you made me feel put out. That's your problem, not mine. Did you advocate for yourself? Did you speak to what your needs were? Well, I thought you were busy, so I wouldn't bother you. But I'm crying, and this is now urgent because I couldn't get my needs met. Again, that's your problem. I thought you were mad at me. That's your problem. I thought you didn't like me. That's your problem. Your voice was too loud for me. That's your problem. Your message was too strong for me. That's your problem. I don't like that you're going out there and sleeping with other people. That's your problem. Do you need to renegotiate your needs? Do we need to reevaluate our relationship? Versus, oh my gosh, don't leave me. Boss comes and says to you, I don't like your tone. That's your problem. And I know one person might be, well, like you're going to lose your job. Yeah, that's the consequence to standing up for your personal power. Okay? I had an issue once, and here's when I learned it, okay? I was a marketer. I worked for a marketing firm, and I went into one of our clients, and they were a retailer, like, I won't say the name of the retailer, but they're a national brand, very similar like Best Buy, or, I'm not going to say the name of the store, but Best Buy is their competitor. And I'm in the store, and I'm assigned to the store for like a week. And I'm on my last day of the campaign, because again, I work for a marketing firm. And I have lots of pain. I have like denervation and a little bit of myalgia, and like my body is not my friend. I'm a former gymnast, and at 30, I feel like my body's a complete stranger. But anyways, long story short, I'm waiting for my ride. I had just done my shopping. It's raining outside, and for some reason, I wanted to drink a Slurpee. So, you know, when you have nerve pain, cold is painful. And it was stupid to like drink, you know, cold on top of cold, but I did it anyways. And this lady's kids run into me, and they hit me in my shin, and, you know, pain goes. And instead of being like, you effing little kid, I'm just like, watch where you're going, little humans. And I smile it off, and I'm walking to the door waiting for my ride, and this wretched woman, blonde in the box kind of woman, excuse me, and just the nails on a chalkboard, and my lion comes out, but not aggressively, and my head just turns like, what do you want? Kind of exorcist, like, what is it? Empty vessel you are. What do you want me to say to you? And she's like, I'm getting pretty tired of people parenting my kids. And I'm like, parent your own children then. Maybe that's why. And she's like, X, what is that supposed to mean? I was like, honey, you're a piece of work. And she's like, and then she lost it. Acting like a poor little fragile white woman, like I just shot right through her. And she's like, what is that supposed to mean? And I was like, well, your husband's gonna leave you, I'm sure, in the next couple of years. Your children, I'm sure, are gonna put you in a nursing home, and I'm absolutely certain you're gonna die alone. Anything else? Decimation. And I could have just said to her when she goes, I'm getting pretty tired of people trying to parent my children. I could have said to her, that sounds like your problem. But I decided to go there with her. And, well, let's just say I'm grateful that was the last day of my campaign. So, I have learned in my spiritual practice to realize, like, what I could have done to that woman was, like, embrace her and be like, you poor woman. In all of your privilege, you probably feel alone because I'm sure your husband doesn't ever come around to talk to you, and I'm sure you can't control your little humans because you're an absolute awful piece of shit human being. But I'm sure you cry at home alone in the shower, and I'm sure probably nobody wants to talk to you. I could have been more compassionate. That's what I'm saying. No, the real compassion would be recognizing that she's on her journey, and that it takes women like that in the environment to remind you of what you hold sovereign, sacred, and serene to yourself, right? To remind yourself that taking a chill pill and not demanding the world to cop to and pop to it and tap dance like a little monkey the moment you walk in the room is probably the way to go. To remind that giving people other humans respect and decency of, you know, saying please and thank you is probably wise. And also to remember that dogs look like their owners. She had the most ugliest chihuahua I've ever seen. She looked exactly like her dog. That was one. When I saw her, I was like, yep, it's true. People do look like their dogs. I remember that day. Oh, yeah. So let's read the sermon. Actually, I'm going to do a little bibliomancy, and this is the interview guide for the DSM. And I like to use it for colonizer technologies. And the word that I put was, did you ever threaten anybody if they didn't give you money? And the question here is, has stolen with confrontation with a victim, like mugging, purse snatching, mugging, purse snatching. Somebody's probably like, whoa, we changed. Where are we? What are we talking about? I'll be right with you. Mugging, purse snatching, extortion, armed robbery. Well, that's what the colonizer is doing, and this is called antisocial personality disorder. And the way you categorize these questions is like, so here's what we're told an antisocial person is. Basically, evidence of conduct disorder. Do they bully? Do they threaten? Do they intimidate? Before the age of 18, did you see physical fights? Did they brandish weapons? I brandish weapons all the time. I would shank people with knives, with popsicle sticks. I would put gum in your hair. I'd slap you across the face with peanut butter, and I'd make sure to get it in your eyes. I was a lethal child. Have they ever used a weapon that can cause physical harm? Broken bottles, knives, guns. Do they steal? Are they extortionists, robbers, muggers? Are they cruel to people? Are they physically cruel to people? Have they been physically cruel to animals? Have they forced somebody into sexual activity? Do they lie, break promises, obtain goods and favors to avoid obligations, like conning people? Before the age of 13, did they do certain things? Did they spend the night away from their parents' house often? Things of that nature. Have they stolen items? So it's funny because antisocial personality and the DSM, it has the most amount of questions to ask. There's nothing else with as many categories of questions than antisocial personality disorder. And it's interesting, this antisocial personality disorder, because the way that I'm talking to you, like to say, like, you're having a strong emotion right now because of something that I did. That seems like your problem. What I'm really saying is, like, advocate for your own needs. You can simply tell me to change my behavior, but you need to know what your needs are. You need to be able to say, excuse me, I decided to come hang out with you today because I wanted to get closer to you. I wanted to build and deepen our bond or establish more rapport. I have a need to be in a peaceful environment. Would you mind to lowering your voice? Versus like, oh my gosh, I'm triggered. The world's happening to me. I'm a fragile person. And oh my gosh, the sky is falling. I'm going to melt. Because my response is going to be, I'm going to backhand you into your next lifetime. Be careful. Or simply, that's not my problem. Good luck with that. And it's funny because people will be like, well, that's rude. That's mean. You ain't ever seen the fourth dimension and fifth dimension, have you? It's just like that. I'm sure on some level, in some weird parallel realm, we're praying for you. But in this one, good luck with that. Off. And it's like, you think of a place and then you're there. That's how it is in the fifth dimension. So that's not antisocial, but that's how people would perceive it. Teachers would ask me a lot in school, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would say to them, an assassin. Stop asking me that question. Whatever I want to be, I don't want your commentary on the matter. I certainly don't want your advice and guidance to be whatever I think I should be. I'm not going to look at you for validation or accreditation on having a good idea or not. I want to be a porn star. I want to be an assassin. I want to be the fuck up out of here. That's what I want to be when I grow up. Your executioner. Next question. So adults would have thought I had, they did. They thought I was antisocial, but I was just rebelling against that. I had a complex. People tried to take mercy a lot, and it was kind of like, I'm not in this position where I need mercy. People are like, okay, example, those who grew up without a father. Some people would be like, well, how was it growing up without a father? And the response is always like, I don't know. I didn't have him there. So if if he was absent in your life, yeah, I'm sure it would have helped to have a man around. But if you don't know, you don't know. You'll make it do, right? If you lived in a house without a pool all your life, you're not going to know what it is. You hear what I'm saying? It's different if you didn't have him for the first 12 years of your life and then he comes back for a year and suddenly he's gone again. That's a different story. You hear what I'm saying? So it's interesting. Antisocial disorder, it makes me laugh. It's the same thing here with avoidant personality disorder. Slow, shows restraint with intimate relations because of fear of being shamed or ridiculed. These are human problems. What's another one? I saw one and I was like, next. I was just like, because I can't hear all those things. Like, it annoys me. It annoys me. Avoids occupational activities that involve significant interpersonal contact because fears criticism. What happens if they don't fear criticism? I don't want you touching me because I don't want to get your stink on me. I can feel the demon on your left shoulder. I can feel the bathhouse. I can feel the demon dick you've been sucking. I can feel the pork you've been eating. I can feel the lice in your hair. Don't touch me. So, third dimension versus fourth dimension. Antisocial personality disorder. No, I'm not going to mix with swine because I don't want your demon to follow me home. That's what it is. I'm not antisocial. So, what was my point with this? The colonizer would assign a label to you that in the world of being divided propositions you to be less than. So it again divides you from your power because now you don't fit in, right? Let's pull an archetype just real quick to round out that story. When I go in a very deep read and then I come out of the portal, I always love to get the DSM out. Low sex drive means you need to work on your Ashe. I get the DSM out after any strong channel because I want to know like what conditioning and programming did I go through to make it where you know, I'm worried. And I remember I did a year of therapy back in 2015, and I thought I needed it because I actually had a physical illness that was affecting me. I didn't know it. I had an abscess that was infecting me, and it was literally making me crazy. But I was being gaslit by a narcissist, and I was just checking with this person because I was like, you know, and I also wanted to check in because I had had a lot of social difficulties, but they weren't social difficulties. I just had a very secure sense of self, and I was around weak people. I was around lambs when I was a lion, and my lion was showing. And it was interesting because I was very fortunate to get with a clinician that had a side business using animal medicine. She used wolf medicine, and she had went out and studied with the Native Americans in Utah. But still, like, I was very fortunate. And, you know, the reason I picked her was I walked in her office, and she had a bunch of bronze and gold everywhere, and she was burning sandalwood, and she had on Indian drums. And I specifically recognized that it wasn't African. It was Native American drums, and I like recognized it, and I was like, this is Native American drumming, and she knew what it was. And so I was like, I'm gonna hang with you for a minute. I'll fuck with you for a minute. And I worked with her for a year. And what I did was I would come in her office every day and I would reaffirm my personal power. And in the beginning, it was like, what's going on? You know, I had this experience and this is what I think. And this person was over here and they were processing it this way, you know, and then I was it. And I would always, she called me out because I would tell her like, and I sat there and I gave them the time of day. And she was, after the third time, like the third week, she was like, why do you always reference giving people the time of day? Do you feel that you're superior to them or whatever? And I was like, no. I always feel like I need to let them feel like they were heard, or what I'm saying to like give it back to them isn't going to be respected. And then she had to like flip her script and was like, okay, well, you're a little bit of a cunty woo, but let me tell you how this is working. And she read me in. She was like, yeah, you know, you just have a very strong sense of self, and you really know what your needs are, and you have very strong boundaries. And we ended up on the theory of like, yeah, your way of dealing with the world repels weak people. Oh, absolutely. So even when I went to the therapist, what got me into the therapist's office was that I was recovering from a narcissist, and I was open to having the dialogue of like, okay, is there something alive in me that I need to like fix and change? Yeah, you know, I'm not easily approachable. I'm not easily accessible, and I don't make myself vulnerable when I want to bond with a person. And you know, showing my humanity or showing my vulnerability would make people feel more comfortable. I know how to make people feel more comfortable. I just give no fucks about it. I don't need to get off my throne so that you can get up on pedestal and still look at my navel. I don't know how else to say that. I just don't care. Like if for some reason I'm a repellent to you, you're welcome. So let's wrap out the sermon. Oh, we didn't pull the priest is what came out. And it says facilitates spiritual commitment, serves as a channel of spiritual energy versus violates the trust of your spiritual community to seduced by your own spiritual role. Pioneer, on the grounds of pioneering, passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. There's a heart. There's a heart. I love this card. I love hearts, even though hearts is really like an upside down anus. It's a woman's derriere which she bends over. But that's where the sigil for heart came from. So compulsive need to keep moving on. Well, I do have a tendency to warrior. Strength, skill, discipline, toughness of will, heroism, stoicism, self-sacrifice, and conquering the ego. Versus trading ethical principles for victory at any cost, indifference to the suffering inflicted upon others. It could go either way. This is on the grounds of goddess. Yeah. If I feel smothered by your neediness, I'm going to have to tell it to you. I don't care about your feelings. That's your job. I can just give you information. If you're offended, it's because you made the choice to be offended. If you are liberated, it's because you made the choice to be liberated. I can say the same exact thing verbatim to two different people. One person will be elated. The other person will want to start a woe. This is what I got to say about it. But anyways... The feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality versus exploitation of the female nature and form. Okay, now for the sermon. That Azalea Banks song is still stuck in my head. Ooh boy, ooh boy. I think I noticed what you need. That song is going strong. Get to the bass, the big beat, dance to the big beat, the big beat. Communication. Free spirit. Yeah, you bugging me down, you got to know about it. Your husband my mellow, you got to know about it. You talking stupid, you got to know about it. I'm gonna have to tell you. This is so funny to me. I'm like cracking up. I've got to cut out the first 20 minutes. I don't have a choice. 27. I want to keep it in, but I'm going to have to get rid of it. The video is too long. So when I see this card, I get that pack energy a lot. And when somebody comes to me, everybody's doing this and we got to do it. Like, if there's some button I can press to turn you off, where's your batteries? Let me unplug you. Robot. Well, Sally and Joey and Santa and blah, 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 everybody's going to the movies and, blah, blah, and everybody's going to blah, blah, and everybody's buying this, blah, blah, and everybody's jumping off a cliff and dying. Enjoy yourself. Miss me with that. I cannot. No, I've decided the first 27 minutes are going to go. So... So I hear that pack mentality and I'm already in a universal matrix and they're off on one side. So when you're looking at this card face on, it's to your left. I know here it's to the right, but it's to the left. So something's in my left ear, it's taking from me. Something's in my right ear, it's giving to me. That's my rule. And so oftentimes if something's clapping back, it's fine. I ignore them, but then people get butthurt when you feel like when I don't talk to them. So somebody says hi to me. I have headphones on. I don't reply back. They're worked up because I didn't say hi to them. By the third time I don't say hi to them, they're in their head, we're at war. I don't give a fuck about you enough to be at war, number one. But number two, like, I'm off in my world and you're yapping at me like a little chihuahua. So, you know, that one happens to me all the time, but other things too. Like, see, I'm in my own field. I'm Linda Ronstadt. I got my own drum and I love my drum. And I have a nice little Doombeck. So unless you want to play Doombeck Dula #2, then get out of my face. Unless you want to drum some sacred music, you know what I mean? And I'm in the market for a darbuka, and a djembe. So, you know, so I'm Linda Ronstadt. I need you for no nothing. And see, communication, it's just information. It's just data. I can take it or leave it. It's just feedback. It's either adjusting or affirming. If you think I'm this, I shouldn't be affected by it. If I, you know, so when I tell you something, if for some reason it moves you either way, you're out of alignment. Nobody should be able to make you feel better or less than when they speak to you. It's simply information. And then a free spirit, see, 13 means you're being liberated from the matrix. So 13 is a number of binding, by the way. But see, the thing about it is like, when you understand your sense of source and your ability to embody that source, you're liberated. So a lot of people are just down here in the darkness, and I can see the light in the darkness. But see, when they start talking about their problems, what I see is the transformation going on. See, transformation is destruction and death and decay and destruction. So it creates a light in the dark. And I'm like, well, there's your illumination. And they're not wanting to do that. They're wanting to wallow in their pain. They're wanting to wallow in their pity. And see, that's just not going work. Not going work, man. And see, when I see these together, it's kind of like, well, master your divinity. See, until you are able to connect to yourself, to go within, you're never going to be able to shine without. Until you see your light first, everybody's going to be telling you what it is. And so it's limited through their perception until you have your own. And it's fine to take guidance from other people, but if it's not just input, if you're deriving meaning from it, okay. So let's read this one. I'm going to read number 9, and this is from Nadi Anastasia's Coctic. Cosmic. Cosmic activation cards for the soul. Yeah, but Nadi Anastasia, I love her. The best 20-something bucks I've ever spent on Amazon. I want to restart my spiritual store and just sell all of her and Alana Fairchild's decks. I love her, I love her, I love her, I love her, I love her. And these images, these graphics are so beautiful. Look at these cards. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. These are just breathtaking. Azalea's not going away. Been around the world looking for love. Confess your love to me. Been around the world looking for love in all these places. Okay, so communication. And this is by Nadi Anastasia's Cosmic Activation Cards for the Soul, the Oracle cards. And this is from page number 39, card number 9. Number 9. Okay, communication. To be truly heard, one needs to practice the art of listening. Yes, seek not to be heard, seek first to hear. Listen to understand, don't listen to be heard or to respond. This card has being syntax error. Pardon me, this is not coming together right. It should be this card has been revealed to you today to acknowledge. It says this card has being. So either this card is being or this card has being. So Nutty, second edition, girl. Reprint. Anyways, okay. So this card is being revealed to you today to acknowledge the voice inside you that wishes to be heard and acknowledged. One of the biggest lessons we can learn in this lifetime is effective communication. Communication that is clear and that does not assume that others can read our minds. Working both ways, the art of listening also involves being patient and open to the ideas of others. Dear one, at times you do not feel as though you are being truly listened to. This can cause frustration, agitation, and a stagnant whirlpool of energy to build within you. This frustration can sometimes cause you to be indirect, insensitive, and snappy. Mhm. This energy of frustration and insensitivity then gets passed back to the ones who did not effectively listen the first time around and is usually received as a personal attack. This energy only encourages them to continue not to listen, with even more resistance and defiance. The cycle of energy being thrown back and forth continues and becomes more vicious, intolerable, and heartbreaking. Most often, either or both parties will search elsewhere for an empathetic ear to simply listen. I don't need people to listen to me. When I'm upset, I need something to murder. 50 rounds at the shooting range, take an old computer and a sledgehammer to it, hammer nails into the wall, go trim the bushes, go burn the mail in the burn pile, the junk mail in the burn pile. I need empathetic ear. Ugh. That works for people. That don't work for me. I'm sorry. I'm fire. I'm not no air. Just saying. It is time to listen, to take the reins and break free from these energetic, emotional mind games. Communicate truthfully about how you feel and express calmly with love what needs to be said. Give the other party an opportunity to also express their feelings truthfully and allow them to speak freely without interruptions or resistance. The more you practice this art of listening with love, the more you will find others eager to hear what you have to say. You will then go from a place of not being heard to a place of being heard by many. Affirmation: I am humbled and patient in knowing that to be truly heard, I must first truly listen. Associated chakras are the solar plexus and the throat. You know what? That's for y'all, not for me. And I'm not being dismissive. I'm just saying. Okay, so So, okay. Okay. So, all right. So here's the deal. We got to read Free Spirit. Because, okay, now, listen with love. Because the person's going to come to you with their drama, mean the story, and you can, in that moment, choose not to co-sign their bullshit. Just because somebody's all worked up doesn't mean I need to sit here and go and meet them wherever they are. And sometimes I'm not going to stand there and listen to your drama, mean the story. Tell your mama, tell your spirits, tell the wall, I don't care. Girl, what are your needs? How can we move this forward? Do I need to acknowledge your feelings? Because then fuck you, get out of my life. Unless you're feeding me, fucking me, financing me, I don't care about your feelings. And what? Okay? You are an adult. Wipe your own ass. Take care of your own feelings. Did I hurt your feelings? Define a boundary and move on. Now, communicate clearly, absolutely. And communicate nonviolent. Absolutely. If what you're saying is making the other person defensive, if what you're making is making the other person not able to pay attention to what you're saying, absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. But see, if I'm sitting there speaking and the words coming out of my mouth are triggering you, you low vibrational, up out of my business, bye. You need to be a client, pay me, go home. Bye. I'm not going to sit there knowing that people pay me for advice and counsel you on how to be a galactic, sovereign, free human being. Okay? If entities outside of yourself bother you, you're out of alignment. Collect your power back. This is not a drill. No one is coming to save you. Get to business. That's the reality of the situation. Communicate with yourself. If you arrive at an obstacle on the road you're driving down, ask yourself, is this a road bump? Is this a roadblock? Is this a speed bump? What am I needing? Do I need to go around? Do I need to, recalculating, re-navigate on a different route? Do I need to not go to my destination? Do I need to pull out a grenade launcher and burst down this barrier here? Nah, well, somebody else has the power and they should change themselves so that I can get what I need. If you hot and bothered and the other party's popping up at the mouth and don't know how to step to a queen, this is funny to me. I had a very recent situation where somebody told me one time they were having issues and then I forgot about it. So the second time they threw a tantrum, ran away, and tattled. So when they came back around, I said, I don't respect you. I'm not interested in arriving at a conclusion. I'm interested in cutting you out of my life like a bad cancer. I don't give a fuck about your feelings. I give a fuck about your absence. Let me help you with that. Because the opportunity to be heard was in front of my face, not when you're going trying to pull some white man power struggle shit and go over my head. I will stomp you into the ground with a smile on my face. You want some kindness? It'll be when I bury you. Have a nice life. I'm that serious. So let's get to free spirit, because that wasn't no sermon. Anyways, page number 47 is card number 13. Free spirit. True freedom is attained when one transcends the illusionary imprisonment of their mind. Oh, this is much more my speed. This card represents the need to let go of limiting beliefs you hold within yourself. Beliefs regarding who you are and what you are capable of achieving. There are two types of beliefs: beneficial beliefs, which encourage you to grow, and detrimental beliefs, which keep you imprisoned and bound by fear. The core beliefs lie in your subconscious and attract experiences that match their emanating frequency. So if your subconscious holds more detrimental beliefs, it is likely you will attract circumstances to match that energy. If you find yourself, however, attracting more roadblocks and hurdles, there's no however there, I added it. If you find yourself attracting more roadblocks and hurdles, look within yourself and see what limiting beliefs you hold inside. It is these beliefs that block you from living a more fulfilling life of manifestation, inner freedom, and peace. If you're drawn to this card, Spirit is encouraging you to look deeper within yourself and to see what it is that is holding you back from living a more purpose-filled life. Do you harbor thoughts of not being good, worthy, or talented enough? What vibration are you sending out to the world to receive the roadblocks that you currently face? Remember that what you wish for in your life needs to be an exact match to the beliefs that are lying in your subconscious. They are not in sync with each other. Then it is most likely that your wishes may take longer to manifest. What detrimental beliefs have you been holding on to all these years? Reframe and replace any detrimental beliefs uncovered with beneficial affirmations. Yeah, reframe. Reframe, girl, reframe. We got to do the reframe dance. I'll teach it to you one day. I'm having a camera thing right now, so we ain't gonna do it right now. But Great Spirit, here's the affirmation. Great Spirit, assist me to understand and transcend any detrimental belief I may hold within myself. Associated chakras is the base chakra. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't suffer fools. I'm a lion. I'm not a lamb. I'm not no sheep. You cannot break me. You cannot cage me. You cannot put me on a leash. I do not ask permission to live my life. I do not. Come for me. Bring it. Oh, I'm going to enjoy it. I will rip it right out of you, homeboy. Get it. The shenanigans, done. Done with it. Okay. So you got to be the same, because I could laugh the devil out of your heart and smile at the same time. And most people are like, I cannot process your energy. I'm scared of you. Ooga booga. I gotta go home and pee my pants. And I'm just like, well, delete my number while you're at it. Bye. Because, you know, there's no way to get through life making other people your problem. And most people want to, like, you know, pull from external resources to kind of feed what's alive in them. And see, when people start talking, I just hear the God-sized hole in their heart. That's what it is. And it's like, I'm supposed to be the face of your problems, but then I'm supposed to give you solutions, then I'm supposed to listen to all your problems for free. Honey, I work pro bono, but you gotta be eager and willing to get your medicine. So I'm gonna leave it there. Peace be with you. Take good care of yourself. Namaste, Dandavat, and Ashe, au revoir, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, das vidanya. I made a promise that I would put the reading that I did in the show notes. I got rid of the reading by accident, so, oops, I'm sorry. I got a lot of stuff coming very soon. I'm going to do some free tutorials on some of my spreads. A lot of people are asking me, because you won't understand by one tutorial. A lot of people are asking me for, like, the entry into what it is that I do, so I'll give that to you. And I'm also going to do a Hacking Your Astrology series, and we're going to bring that in too. So peace be with you. Take good care of yourself. Namaste, Dandavat, and Ashe. If anything I said resonates deeply with you, you can contact me, Priestess Gorgeous, at oracle@vertexofabundance.org. Okay? Namaste, Dandavat, and Ashe. Au revoir, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, das vidanya. Bye.